life. I'm Anastasia Chatzka, a fashion designer with over 20 years of experience and a sewing educator. And I'm really excited you're here to share another sewing adventure with me today. Welcome to Sew Anastasia, and today we are going to sew up some socks. I'm about to sock it to ya, ha ha ha. This tutorial is going to be for a pair of cut and sew socks, so no knitting required. It's going to be a 4-piece pattern and it is super easy. So you can make them out of velvet, you could make them out of fleece, you could make them out of a fancy sheer silk. You can make these socks out of so many different types of fabric. You are never going to run out of socks again. And this is a great way to use up your scrap fabrics. If you're not already a subscriber to Sew Anastasia, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when all the new awesome videos come out. I'm also teaching virtual sewing classes and in-person sewing classes. Information for that is going to be on sewanastasia.com, or go ahead and click the link down below for sewanastasia.com. Supplies for this project are going to be super simple. You're going to need some thread. I'm going to be using a contrasting thread today. You're also going to need your rotary cutter and a rotary cutting mat or a pair of scissors. You're going to need some snips to cut all those little pesky threads. You're also going to need a pattern. So there's a 4-piece pattern on my website at sewanastasia.com under digital download. So check that out. You're also going to need some fabric. I'm going to be using a purple sweater knit today, but remember, you can use just about any fabric that has a bit of stretch to it. The first thing you need to do is print out your pattern and cut it out. Mine's on tagboard, but yours is probably going to be on printer paper. After you've cut out your paper pattern, we're going to lay it on the fabric. So let's go ahead, lay it on the fabric, and let's double check our grain lines. So I have my pattern pieces laid out, and the socks are cut too because we have a right and a left foot. So make sure the stretch is going across the pattern on the skinny side of it. And then the band up here at the top is laid out like this. So my fabric is stretching across the fabric, selvage to selvage, and the grain line on these patterns runs through the pattern lengthwise. So you want to make sure that your grain line is parallel with the selvage. Now that the pattern's all laid out, grab your rotary cutter or scissors and let's cut it out. Now that we have everything cut out, it should look something like this. I have 2 of everything. Now grab your chalk and we are going to mark the notches. We have 2 notches on the bottom and 2 notches on the back top. We want to go ahead and mark these on both pieces. This is indicating where we need to sew the heel. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and mark the other side. Now that we have everything cut out and marked, it's time to go over to the serger. I'm going to be serging these together today, but if you don't have a serger, don't worry. You can totally use the zigzag or an overcast stitch. And if you need to learn how to serge without a serger, make sure you check out my video on that. Today I'm going to be using the Husqvarna Viking Amber Air S400, but you can use any sewing machine that you have. The first thing we're going to do is line up our notches and sew the back heel. The first thing we're going to sew is the bottom and the back top together, and we're going to line up these little notches. So place your fabrics right side together. Make sure your notches are lined up, and now we're going to sew from notch to notch. So place your fabric into the machine right where that notch is. This is going to be a little tricky because it's a curve. If you need some help sewing corners and curves, make sure you check out my video on that. Now when we get to the other notch, we're just going to chain off. Now that we have the back heel serged up, it should look something like this. Next, grab your front sock and we're going to place the one that we just serged on top of it. And we want to line up the toe curve and we want to line this up. Now they should match identical all the way up to the top. And now what we're going to do is start at the top and we're going to serge all the way around in this U shape. And when you get to these little sections here where our heel is, you want to take it and fold it over to the side so that way it doesn't get caught in the sock. Remember when you get to the seam here to make sure that it's pushed out of the way. Keep lining up your edges. When you get to the next joint, make sure you fold it in. Now that we have the sock sewn up, it should look something like this. But we have one step left. We need to go ahead and sew the top band on. This could be out of the same fabric, or you could choose to use a rib knit. Now take your top band and fold it right sides together, and we're gonna sew up this short edge. Now that we have it sewn up, it should look something like this. Now we want to take the tube and we want to fold it wrong sides together, so that way its right sides are facing out. And after you have it folded, we're gonna go ahead and grab our sock. And now what we want to do is insert this into the sock. And I like to make sure that my seam is gonna match up with one of the other seams. So we need to line up all three layers. Layer of the sock, and a layer of the band, and another layer of the band. Now let's go ahead and sew in a circle. Keep lining up all your layers as you move around in the circle. I like to sew a little bit and then line up. Our sock is now complete and it should look something like this. How cute. Let's turn it right side out and check it out and try it on. Check it out. We have a sock. I cannot wait to try this on. But of course we need one more sock. So go ahead and do the exact same thing so you end up with 2 socks. Or if your dryer likes to eat socks, maybe you want to make 3. I did it! Check them out. They are so cute and cozy. These would be so fun in a velvet or a fleece. And I'm even thinking of making them out of some sheer fabrics. I've seen a lot of socks lately that have like a sheer netting with like a cool print or a screen print or a flocking on it. So cute with high heels. Thanks so much for watching Sewing Anastasia today. If you have any questions or comments on making socks, make sure you leave it down below and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all the fabulous social media sites so you can stay inspired. Also, I would love to see your sewing projects and especially your socks that you make. So make sure you DM me photos or tag me at Sewing Anastasia so that way I can share them with everybody else and we can keep each other inspired. I'm now teaching virtual and in-person sewing classes, so make sure you check out all that information down below or go to sewinganastasia.com. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, give it some applause, and share it with your friends and family. And if you want to help support Sewing Anastasia, hop on over to Patreon and check out all the ways you can do that. Even donating $1 a month helps us and keeps us growing, sewing, and going. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!